As President Trump's trade war escalates, Wall Street wraps up its worst week since 2020. Businesses in the West scrambling to figure out how to survive this.
We can't package beer in plastic. We can't magically buy a new glass bottling line. We have the equipment that we've invested in.
Good evening on this Friday and welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Christina Rendon. After another day of cratering stock prices, we see signs in the West of resistance and resilience in the middle of President Trump's trade war. The Dow dropped another 5.5% today. That is a loss of 2,231 points. The Nasdaq fell nearly 6%. Its drop of 962 points puts the composite into a bear market territory. And the S&P 500 was also down nearly 6% today, off 322 points. President Trump posted on social media this morning that his policies will never change. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says upset in markets across the globe is necessary.
No, their economies are not crashing. Their markets are reacting to a dramatic change in the global order in terms of trade. We need to get back to a time where we're a country that can make things, and to do that, we have to reset the global order of trade.
Escalating the president's trade war is retaliation by China. That country announced this morning that it will impose a 34% tax on all U.S. imports next week. In the West, California Governor Gavin Newsom has asked international trade partners to exempt his state's products from retaliatory measures.
Donald Trump's tariffs do not represent all Americans, particularly those that I represent here in the fifth largest economy in the world, the state of California. I'll remind all our international trading partners, California is a stable trading partner, and we hope you consider that as it relates to California-made products.
Senate Democrats say they will push legislation later this month that could potentially undo the president's tariffs.
Businesses hate this, not just big businesses, small businesses. They need certainty. And when they hear about all these tariffs coming in, they don't hire any new people. They don't expand any services. They don't build a new plant.
Businesses using an Arizona warehouse are finding ways to put off damage that they expect to eventually suffer from the tariffs. Fox 10's Lauren Clark shows us how this foreign trade zone works.
Well, customers of this distribution center are from all across the globe and dealing with the impact of tariffs just like everyone else. However, this company has something interesting to offer, and it's putting them in a very unique position.
At SKU Distribution Center in Chandler, founder and CEO James Peacock says his industry is turned upside down following the Trump administration's international tariffs.
Everyone in the market is freaking out. I mean, I don't think that's an understatement.
But at his warehouse and fulfillment center,
we've got quite a bit of interest.
Businesses from all over are taking notice. The reason why, stamped onto a federal sign.
It comes into the zone, you defer all those duties and taxes until those pieces actually leave the zone.
His business is marked as a foreign trade zone, or FTZ. That means international goods parked here don't have to pay tariffs until they leave the warehouse and are sold, in turn helping the businesses that use them.
It's really the only way to manage that portion of your line item cash flow is to use something like this.
Cash flow that could become invaluable as the market learns to try to adjust to these new tariffs, offering savings and supply chain efficiencies for importers.
You know, it's a way for them to kind of continue their supply chain and kind of park the stuff in a foreign trade zone that they can just kind of like, okay, defer those taxes until they kind of take a deep breath and kind of wait for the dust to settle.
Reporting in Chandler, Lauren Clark, Fox 10 News.
Again, that was Fox 10's Lauren Clark reporting. For the industries that are already feeling the effects of President Trump's tariffs, business leaders are changing the way they do business. Some are implementing temporary halts in production. Many others are warning consumers of likely price hikes. In Seattle, Washington, the city's coffee shops are bracing for the impact of tariffs. According to the USDA, about 80% of the U.S.'s imported beans come from Latin America, largely Brazil and Colombia. Both countries face 10% tariffs. Shoppers are likely to see the price of a pound of coffee going up at the grocery store, as well as the cost of a latte at their local cafes.
I definitely would probably go for just getting the coffee at the office rather than going downstairs and getting something.
The United States accounts for just 1% of all global coffee production, with coffee from Kona, and production in Hawaii has been on the decline for the past couple of years. In Colorado, brewers are worried about the future of their businesses. Fox's Kennedy Hayes spoke with some of them about how they're coping.
This 25% tariff is not something I'm seeing craft brewers lift a glass to. Now, in terms of cost, the Brewers Association tells me that the industry's supply chain will take an immediate hit. Now, this is an expansion of the aluminum tariffs introduced last month. Starting today, there's a 25% tariff on all canned imported beer and empty aluminum cans. Experts say, first and foremost, the tariffs are an added expense for imports.
These effects are going to look differently. Constellation, who's the largest importer in the United States, probably will see the greatest effect. There may be benefits for large companies that are sourcing most of their products domestically. And what we're hearing from small brewers is just an overall concern around cost.
Analysts say the biggest cost concern for brewers is the price of aluminum cans. The U.S. imports about 15% of the aluminum used for cans, mainly from Canada. And while most brewers in the U.S. are buying their cans domestically, experts say that doesn't make them immune. For example, one Colorado brewer tells me even though he buys his cans from a U.S. manufacturer, that company imports some of its aluminum, meaning he can't control potential price increases. Plus, his brewery doesn't have the capacity to stock up on cans just in case.
We can't package beer in plastic. We can't magically buy a new glass bottling line. We have the equipment that we've invested in and we need to use it. So we are not able to shift like someone maybe like Budweiser could or like Coca-Cola could.
This week, President Trump also announced a 20% tariff on goods imported from the European Union. Now, the Brewers Association tells me that many craft brewers get their kegs from Europe, but in terms of draft beer, that impact is still unclear. In Denver, Kennedy Hayes, Fox News.
For updates on how the president's escalating trade war is impacting people across the West, head over to westcoastwrap.com. Our online coverage includes a breakdown of what the Federal Reserve is saying about the future of inflation. Los Angeles County has agreed to settle thousands of childhood sexual abuse claims for $4 billion. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf reports it will be the costliest settlement in county history if approved.
LA County closing in on the most expensive financial settlement of its kind, $4 billion for victims claiming sexual abuse.
Hopefully there's a sense of closure with respect to this chapter.
Patrick McNicholas represents 1,200 of the nearly 7,000 people claiming to be victims of sexual abuse.
They were depending on the state, in this instance the county, to protect them, take care of them, and the very people that were supposed to protect them went on and injured them and damaged them a second time.
The claims date back as far as 1959, but most of the claims come from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s at probation department facilities, including the McLaren Children's Center, which attorney Ben Crump tweeted about with some of the alleged victims in 2022, saying kids at McLaren Hall were often over-medicated, restrained, and assaulted.
Physically, sexually abused, forced raped, everything you can think of, violence.
In a statement, LA County Chief Executive Officer Fecia Davenport tells Fox 11, on behalf of the county, I apologize wholeheartedly to everyone who was harmed by these reprehensible acts. The historic scope of this settlement makes clear that we are committed to helping the survivors recover.
The justice part of it really is that there is a societal recognition that a horrible wrong has been committed, that horrible injuries and damages have been sustained.
If approved, the $4 billion settlement will be the costliest in LA history. Davenport's office says it will be paid for through reserve funds and judgment obligation bonds, which the county has set aside. They also admit budget cuts to some departments may be needed.
There are going to be allocators who will look at the individual's set of facts and circumstances.
According to McNicholas, victims could get up to 7 figures, but they also could receive nothing based on their case. So they're very confident that this is going to get approved, and on Monday it goes to the Claims Board, and then after that it will go to the Board of Supervisors on April 29th. Reporting tonight, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
A wild ride for space tourists in the West today. Coming up, watch them complete their mission. And we'll show you new tools helping the U.S. military beef up security along the West's southern border.
And take a look at that. 2 West Coast teams played at that big, beautiful park today. We'll talk about that, plus another park where it snowed. Your West Coast Wrap forecast is coming up right after this fast Fox break.
3 Major League Baseball teams in the West are celebrating home opening games today. Snowy conditions for Colorado Rockies fans out in Denver. Sunshine in Southern California, where the Los Angeles Angels are still playing the Guardians right now. And in San Francisco, the Giants just pulled off a walk-off win in the bottom of the 11th inning against the Seattle Mariners. The final 10-9. Fans in the crowd there were excited to get in on the home opener action.
We love our team and we come out to support them and get them going every single year.
People get busy and this is when you see all the real fans let's start the season.
Yeah, true fans are here.
People who made it out to the Rockies home opener witnessed a bone-chilling game. Of course, we're talking about the weather here. Temperatures dipped to 37 degrees for first pitch. Snow falling on the field, and that's a tie for the second coldest Rockies home opener in history. The team's 2018 home opener holds the record at 27 degrees. By the way, the Rockies suffered a loss to the A's with a final score of 6-3. We'll give you a live look now at downtown Denver, not far from Coors Field tonight where the Rockies play. More snow is expected tonight and tomorrow in this area. We'll bring in KTVU meteorologist Roberta Gonzalez, who's tracking the spring snowfall and other conditions across the West. Hi, Roberta.
Hi there, Christina. I feel their pain. It was back in 1997 when the Chicago Cubs played host to the Florida Marlins, and the air temperature was 29 degrees. And guess who is reporting? Okay. Hi, everybody. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on in Denver. They do have a smattering of snow. It only accumulated to about an inch, but nonetheless, it was cold and more snow overnight tonight throughout tomorrow before it all tapers off and reveals ample sunshine. Now we see some rain showers rotating in and around the Phoenix area where you see those big, beautiful billowing clouds. 72 degrees there today when the average highs in the mid 80s. Meanwhile, we take you 47 miles offshore of Los Angeles, and there you have beautiful Avalon, Catalina, where that's an actual picture from this afternoon. 70 degrees in Los Angeles today. Meanwhile, this is the city by the bay. The city of San Francisco, average high 63 today, topping off at 67 degrees. How about that? And look at all that sunshine. And then a few high thin clouds blew into the Seattle area. 65 when the average highs in the low 50s. How about these high temperatures in and around the state of California? 75 degrees right there. Do you see it in Riverside? Bested by 82 in Palm Springs. In Nevada, 69 in Las Vegas. It was 62 in Tucson, Arizona, and currently 60 in San Francisco. Low to mid 60s common around the Pacific Northwest. A pair of 4s in Salt Lake City. And we do have the light snow falling in Denver, Colorado at 29 degrees. Now, meanwhile, we do have clouds shearing off from this big, beautiful area low pressure out over the eastern Pacific. Promises to bang up against the Pacific Northwest, bringing some rain showers to Seattle, but not until about Sunday. Meanwhile, the rain showers in throughout to Arizona. It's trucking on out into New Mexico, and that will lift on out to the midsection of the country. This looks like a pretty big, vigorous area low pressure, but the bottom line is it'll only bring about a quarter of an inch of precipitation by Sunday into the Seattle area. As far as San Francisco is concerned, while you do have a little smattering of rain showers overnight Sunday through your Monday, and then we do have 74 degrees by the start of the work week in the Los Angeles area. We'll be flirting with nearly 90 in Phoenix. And Denver, you're looking good after you get rid of that snowfall. Okay, we're talking about 2 West Coast teams. Seattle Mariners playing Game 2 against your San Francisco Giants on Saturday. Game time at 6:05 in the low 60s. By the end of the game, as the sun sets, 58 degrees. We got Miller for the Mariners, and we got Robbie Ray for the Giants. Could be a good-looking game there, Christina.
Yeah, sounds good. Hopefully it's another win for the Giants here. Although we shouldn't pick favorites. I know we should not pick favorites. All right, Roberta, thank you. We're getting a closer look at how the U.S. military is assisting Border Patrol agents. Joint Task Force Southern Border is using a mobile surveillance system in Arizona. The vehicle, equipped with cameras, helps the military monitor activities along the border in Douglas County.
This is the pointy end of that spear. Here you've got a Stryker vehicle where our soldiers are helping provide detection and monitoring here on the border. And you can just see the border wall just about 100 meters away from here. And this is one of the tasks that we're helping the Border Patrol in order to get more agents out in the field to perform their law enforcement role.
Thousands of active duty troops have been deployed to the southern border. From Texas to California, work on building a border wall has been resumed by President Trump. One senator has asked for $25 billion for the project under the Border Wall Act. By the end of President Trump's first term in office, 458 miles of new wall had been built. That work, though, stopped under the Biden administration. By the end of this year, the president plans to add 85 more miles. Some of the barrier will be constructed near San Diego, California, and Yuma, Arizona.
What you'll have is a two-tiered system. So you'll have the buoy systems in the river in Texas. If you were to make it past those buoys and made it to the shore, then you still would have the actual border wall system.
Border Patrol workers in Texas hope to add 700 miles of a new border wall and 1,000 miles of buoys in the middle of the Rio Grande. Well, a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to arrange for the return of a Maryland man to the U.S. after he was mistakenly deported to a notorious El Salvador prison. Supporters of Kilmar Abrigo Garcia rallied ahead of the hearing. Garcia was expelled last month despite an immigration judge's ruling that shielded him from deportation to his native El Salvador, where he faced likely persecution by local gangs. His wife says she has not spoken to him since. The Justice Department is appealing the judge's order. Well, you won't see TikTok shut down in the U.S. tomorrow. President Trump announced today that he's extending a deadline for the social media platform's parent company to find a buyer. Fox's Grady Trimble reports the president has suggested a deal is in the works.
New details emerging on who's in talks to buy TikTok. President Trump on Air Force One hinting an agreement could come soon.
We're very close to a deal with a very good group of people.
Is it multiple investors? Just
multiple.
Trump signed an executive order Friday extending TikTok's deadline to sell the app by another 75 days. He's also said he'd consider using it as a bargaining chip with China on tariffs.
China will probably say, we'll approve a deal, but will you do something on the tariff?
Amazon is one company putting in a bid. The e-commerce giant dominates the retail space, but doesn't have a significant social media presence.
Having TikTok could be the final stone in their monument.
But sources tell the Wall Street Journal Amazon's bid is a long shot. Tech giant Oracle and mobile tech company AppLovin have also made offers. AppLovin uses AI to create targeted ads for consumers.
Pair our advertising algorithm with that product, we'd be able to create an immense amount of growth for small businesses.
TikTok is currently owned by Chinese company ByteDance. It has more than 170 million users in the U.S. Its algorithm is the prized commodity that makes it so popular and addictive and a key part of the negotiations. But it also raises serious national security concerns with how much information China's gathering on Americans.
You got to put the app in the hands of an American-run business so that we can ensure that that type of risk is gone.
Some senators have expressed concerns about any deal that keeps the algorithm in Chinese control. In Washington, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
We have an update tonight on the 7 tigers seized from a Parham property in Nevada. These are pictures of Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge that they took while seizing the tigers in Nye County. And now they're traveling in 2 big black trailers, the female tigers in one, the males in the other. They plan to drive through the night to get the tigers to the Arkansas Sanctuary by tomorrow morning. Sanctuary founder Tanya Smith said Nye County reached out to her sanctuary a couple of weeks ago, and the tigers' living conditions in Pahrump was some of the worst she's ever seen.
When we get back to Arkansas, we'll be able to get these animals out into a big natural enclosure where they'll get to be on the grass and not on this dirty, terrible substrate they were on there.
Smith said her staff isn't sure how old they are just yet, possibly between 3 and 8 years old. As for their health, they aren't sure about that either. A rare whale sighting off California's coast. Coming up, why some marine biologists think this could be a bad sign for wildlife. And it was the ride of a lifetime. See how space tourists wrapped up their trip in the West. Two San Francisco Bay Area companies are working to create robots that look like humans and are powered by AI to help with daily chores around the house. Imagine that. One of the startups is called 1X. It's looking to put a robot humanoid called Neo into more than 100 homes. 1X has not yet set a price on the humanoids, but building one costs tens of thousands of dollars. Well, a surprise visitor along the California coast, a long minke whale making a special visit at Rainbow Harbor down in Long Beach. Fox 11's Haley Winslow has more on why one expert worries the whale could be feeling the effects of a toxic algae bloom.
In Southern California, that's the best. You're going to see a minke whale. Most people will never see a minke whale, to be honest.
An extremely rare and special sighting that's attracted quite a crowd.
I was over there working for the committee of 300 at the grandstands for the Grand Prix, and I had seen the helicopter, so I walked over, obviously, to see what's going on.
An estimated 25-foot minke whale swimming in circles around Rainbow Harbor near the Catalina Island Express ferry terminal in Long Beach, which made the minke quite a challenge to catch on camera.
It's been in the area for at least 4 days. It was first sighted over by the Harbor Breeze whale watch boats.
Especially exciting for nearby Aquarium of the Pacific volunteers who took a little field trip and walked over.
Yeah, I think it's just being reminded of the other creatures that inhabit Earth too with you.
Diane Alps, a marine tour guide for Maverick Helicopters and whale watch coordinator for Cabrillo Marine Aquarium, worries the whale might be sick from domoic acid, an unprecedented toxic algae bloom currently affecting and killing off our sea life.
Domoic acid will affect the hippocampus in marine mammals, and that is what helps them navigate and find their way. It's like our sense of direction. And if that's the case, that might be what's making sense. But I don't want to jump to conclusions again.
Yeah, we've been
So they removed those black and white floating barriers in hopes that it would have a wider sense of release, because it is constantly just getting this far, turns around and goes back in.
Experts think one of the reasons the minke whale doesn't want to go back out in the ocean is because they think he's scared of this shadow that's cast from the bridge. It's so rare to even see a minke whale. People are really enjoying such a rare opportunity. They don't have a visible blow, and they have a pretty erratic swim pattern, so it really has been a once-in-a-lifetime experience for so many. We've really had a whale of a time here in Long Beach. I'm Haley Winslow. Back to you.
SpaceX's Dragon and Frame 2 crew of 4 space tourists returned to Earth today after orbiting the North and South Poles. The capsule splashed down in the Pacific off the coast of Southern California. The group spent 4 days in polar orbit exploring the Earth's polar regions. It's the first such private polar astronaut mission to space. Falcon 9 launched the Fram 2 from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Cryptocurrency billionaire Chun Wang served as a mission commander. Well, that's it for us. Thanks so much for joining us, and you can stay up to date with all of the stories that we're covering online. Just go to westcoastwrap.com and stream all of our shows on your smart TV by downloading our Fox Local app. You can also do it on your cell phone. Good night.